In the early hours of December 29, 2020, on a quiet and empty Park Square in Boston, Massachusetts, a historical moment brought on by the collective voices of residents and city officials occurred as crews removed Emancipation Group, the controversial recasting of Thomas Ball's Freedmen's Memorial. The unanimous decision for removal by the Boston Art Commission acknowledged the statue's role in perpetuating harmful prejudices and obscuring the role of Black Americans in shaping the nation's fight for freedom. Criticisms of the artwork date back to abolitionist leader Frederick Douglass and were echoed by many of Boston's residents for years to come, including historian Raúl Fernández. But the last 5 years marked a turning point as Bostonians came together to respond to a citywide call for change. With efforts underway to bring public art to every neighborhood, diversify Boston's public art collection, and make it more accessible to the public through an online database, the city initiated a process to re-examine its entire collection. It identified 6 local monuments that were particularly controversial, and one of those was Emancipation Group. Fast forward to 2020, when the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor sparked a national reckoning on racism and police brutality. The Black Lives Matter movement escalated calls to remove statues that promoted white supremacy around the world. In Boston, Mayor Walsh declared racism a public health crisis and established an equity cabinet that will focus on dismantling racism across the city. On June 9th, the Boston Art Commission held a public meeting where they discussed the importance of the community's input in the removal and recontextualization of several controversial statues under the city's care, including the Emancipation Group statue. While conversations were happening inside the virtual walls of City Hall and across the country, local artist and activist Tory Bullock created a video and petition calling for the removal of the statue.
Comment below in this video right now. Is that image of a black dude on his knees, does that make you feel powerful? Does that make you feel respected? Does that make you feel good?
He collected more than 12,700 signatures and encouraged the people who signed to participate in the public process and give testimony.
And this sculpture has got to go. It's degrading, it's ahistorical.
The man, the freed man, is shown rising. He's not, he's on his knees, which in film maybe fine, acceptable, but in a static, in a bronze casted statue, he's always going to be on his knees.
The public process, hosted by the City of Boston and the Boston Art Commission, included 5 hours of verbal testimony during 2 public hearings, more than 160 letters sent in by community members, and a citywide survey that gathered 645 responses.
You know, what I heard today is that it hurts to look at this piece, and I feel like on the Boston landscape, we should not have works that bring shame to any group of people that are citizens, not just of Boston, but of the United States.
All of these efforts combined led to a unanimous decision by the BAC on June 30th to remove the statue from Park Plaza, where it stood for 141 years. What followed was a 6-month-long decommissioning process that included contracting a conservator, documentation, researching a potential new home for the statue, and proper storage. So, what's next? Acknowledging the value of the collective voice in Boston's public art process, we invite residents to join the conversation by making suggestions for the future of the site. Share your written ideas, illustrations, and video submissions by visiting boston.gov/Emancipation Group or tagging Arts in Boston on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Help us envision a city where our public art is welcoming, inspirational, and reflective of our people.